podcast listeners, Joe C here. Are you digging all the music talk and want to see what my band, The Fallen Electric, has in store? Check us out at thefallenelectric.com for all news, show dates, and contact information. Also, be sure to listen to our album, Never Seen the World, available on all digital music stores and streaming apps. It's time to get electrified.
Let's just go and waste some time on what was recreated.
And we're back.
What's up, everybody? Everybody okay?
All right, man. All right. Relax.
I'm sorry.
Sports?
Yes.
All right. The Sports with Josh.
What's up, everyone?
What's up, Josh?
Let's get this on.
Yes.
All right. So, for any basketball enthusiasts out there, I know some people, if you haven't been paying attention to what's been going on in the NCAA lately, it's been pretty serious. Recently, as early as 2017, a man by the name of Manoush Sood, the financial advisor who pleaded guilty to felony conspiracy to commit bribery in August.
Bribery on what?
So apparently this gentleman used to work for a sports agency. Mm-hmm. And what this agency used to do was they used to give incentives or like give money to college students so that way, you know, that they would go to them after they declared for the draft or whatever their respective sports were, or they would kind of lean them towards specific schools to go to specific schools, like say, hey, look, we'll give you $100,000 to go to this school, and then once you get to that school, you know, after you're done there, come back and we'll sign you and we'll get you going. So what they would do to kind of avoid, you know, or kind of be able to give large sums of money like this, they would write it off as an expense, as a business expense. So the agent, what he was doing was he was pretty much saying like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go take Kyle Kuzma you know, out to dinner, or like I'm saying I'm taking this client out to dinner, like here's for $10,000 or some shit like that.
An expensive
it would
fucking
go,
steak.
yeah, no kidding, right? And he would give it to these students. So IRS didn't like that, and they actually found out,
shit.
and they arrested this gentleman. They immediately started an investigation into the NCAA and into this firm for, you know, said actions. And then they found a number of students that were still in school and going to school at the time, that were, you know, implied in this. And it was pretty big. It happened last year when it broke. And so a lot of things, you know, it was kind of a little quiet. Not much was going on because they were waiting for it to officially go to court. And, you know, according to an article that came out by Sports Illustrated, they've officially gone to court recently. And the gentleman, Manoush Sood, he alleged Markelle Fultz, point guard of the 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers, and Kyle Kuzma, forward for the Los Angeles Lakers, were paid... he's basically alleging that they were some of the students that were paid. Okay. So, the trial's still ongoing.
You have to pay it back now, or what?
Well, here's the thing. According to Wetzel, Sood testified in court on Wednesday morning, admitting that he paid a $30,000 loan to an associate of Fultz and an undisclosed amount to an associate of Kuzma, to an associate of Kuzma while the star forward was still at Utah.
Oh, crazy.
So, pretty much they're just giving him to, like, family members and stuff that represented the player, but the player didn't have his hand on it, technically. So, this guy right now, you know, he's dropping dime on a lot of players.
You know, and I think none of this would be going down the way it's going down if they would just fucking pay the players.
Exactly.
You know, those college players, I mean, they do so much for the school to raise all that money game after game. And everybody knows why they're there. They're there to boost the earnings of that school.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
and they get nothing for it but an education, I guess. But come on, they would have otherwise paid for that.
Yeah, No,
You know
no
what I
kidding.
mean?
No kidding. And I mean, there's nothing that they can do. I mean, the only thing that they can do is have either the firm or Kuzma pay back, the money that they were given. Which, I mean, is not going to be a problem for either.
Sorry, have they made the argument that this can be considered like an internship?
No, they've never tried to make that argument because
I think it might be interesting because some states would say that if you're an intern, you have to get paid, as California has now done.
Yes. But that's but you see, some states have done that, but the NCAA is such a huge organization because think about it, it's hundreds of schools, colleges.
They added all these bowls.
Yeah, and there's no way that they can fully monitor all of that, or at least that's one of their arguments. So, more on the whole corruption of the NCAA.
If they wanted to,
they could. More on the corruption of the NCAA. There's actually going to be a documentary coming out this upcoming Tuesday on HBO. And it's produced by none other than LeBron James and his fellow producer Maverick Carter.
Nice.
From their producing label, and what the series is called. The series is called Student Athlete. It comes Tuesday. An 88-minute documentary that tells the stories of 5 current and former collegiate athletes who believe they've been exploited by the NCAA system.
Yeah.
So. This is what LeBron James said about it. He said, "I've always heard the narrative that college athletes get a free education, but you guys are not bringing me on campus to get an education. You guys are bringing me on it to help you get a Final Four or a national championship."
Yeah.
So it's just a weird thing. James said earlier this year, he said, "I'm not a fan of the NCAA. The NCAA is corrupt. We know that." And he's actually one of the players that forewent college directly. He went straight from high school to the NBA because of this. Because he's just like, you know what? Why are they going to get the money for me playing? I want to get my money now.
Right.
And it was obviously the best decision for him.
Oh yeah, I mean the guy's he's one of the goats.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. He's for sure one of them. And they've kind of released some of the people that are going to be on there. So the film's characters are Nick Richards, who currently plays basketball at Kentucky and shares his recruitment process. Shamar Graves, a former Rutgers football player who struggles with through life after the NFL or after college. And then, Mike Shaw, high school profile basketball recruit whose career and life have been derailed by injuries.
Dang.
And they're going to go into the full recruiting process, like the money, the bribes, everything. They're going to kind of expose the NCAA in this 88-minute documentary. So everyone go check this out. It's going to be a 2-part documentary. Or I'm sorry, not 2-part. It's going to be a 88-minute documentary on this upcoming Tuesday, October, I believe, 9th?
That might sound right.
Yeah, October 9th.
I was paying it. Yep, it is the 9th.
Yeah, October 9th. October 9th on HBO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll be checking that out because I've always asked that question, and for as long as I can remember, as long as I was able to pay attention to anything going on in college sports, it doesn't make sense. And the people making the argument that they're there to get an education, it's so bullshit. You can see right through that argument all the time. And it's usually made by somebody really reaping benefits from the whole goddamn thing.
Oh, definitely.
So
it's bullshit because I 100% agree with the fact that these kids need to get paid something. I mean,
give them something.
Because one, these students aren't allowed to have jobs. They're not allowed to have any type of part-time jobs.
Even if they wanted to, they don't have the time. If they're going to be at practice all the time,
they have the practice. They have their schooling because there's some of them are still forced to go to school. So it's like, okay, look, you guys want them to win you championships and do all this stuff, but one, you guys aren't even going to give them an allowance. Like, give them a minimum wage allowance, like even $300 or $400 a week at least. Give them something.
Ridiculous.
So that way, because these guys most of the time have to go have their free lunches at school, which some schools have great cafeterias, but then you have others that aren't so great.
Right, but then you want to go out with your friends.
Yeah, you want stuff to do on the side.
You want to be a college kid at the same time.
It's like, if you pay these guys, you won't have these corruption scandals or these under the table
None of this
deals.
would be going on.
Yeah.
None of this would be going on.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. So, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, maybe this documentary will actually be something that'll propel that. Maybe it'll be a driving force to spread the light on the corruption of the NCAA.
So to the NCAA, we say, don't be a dick.
Well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's it for me in Sportscast.
Really?
Yeah.
No, man. What about the Dodgers?
Oh, well,
How are they doing?
Nothing's going good right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
the
shit.
Dodgers are doing great right now. So, as we record it here on Thursday, the Dodgers are up, bottom of the
First
seventh.
game, right? First game with the Braves.
First game against the Braves, and we're slapping them silly. 5-0.
No!
The next game is actually going to be tomorrow in LA again.
Okay.
Clayton Kershaw will be pitching tomorrow.
Oh, in Clayton we trust.
So in Clayton we trust. He could pretty much, if we go into a 2-0 lead in Atlanta, I don't think it's going to be a problem,
Sweep?
man. Yeah, I think
Sweep.
I think sweep. I think we can sweep them because, Atlanta sucks.
Weren't they the team to beat, though?
No.
No? Who's the team to beat right now in National?
In the National, the Brewers are actually looking pretty hot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Update on the Brewers Rockies series. Rockies actually lost 2-1 today to the Brewers.
Oh, shit.
And the Brewers are no joke. They have some talented players there. They actually have the front runner for MVP in the National League, Christian Yelich. He was a former outfielder for the Marlins, and the Marlins pretty much gave up on, they blew up their team earlier in the offseason, and they traded him everywhere, and this guy Yelich going to the Brewers, he pretty much woke them up. He's batting over 300 batting average. His on-base percentage, which most of the time average is, or OPS, his on-the-plate percentage. It's over 1,000. Majority of the time, it's average at 1,000, between 900 to 1,000. He finished the season with it over 1,000.
Yeah.
And then his his on base percentage, the amount of times he can get on base from a plate, were close to 1,000.
Dang,
so this guy
crazy.
for sure won the batting title for the National League, and he's a front runner right now for MVP. So really, we got to look out for the Brewers if we can get past the Braves in this series, because the Brewers are no joke. The Braves are no joke either, because they have this guy Fultenowitz. He was supposed to be their best pitcher. We're destroying him, but their bats are no joke. They have Freddie Freeman, their first baseman. He's actually woken up again, because he was a Rookie of the Year a couple years when he came in the league with Puig, and he was pretty good, but then he kept getting injured. So now he's averaging 290 batting average, over 20 I think home runs. They have 3 people with over 20 home runs on the Braves, and one of them, Rafael Acuna, he was a former another former Marlin that they just blew up. A lot of these Marlin players are helping these other teams just skyrocket up.
Oh, man.
So
the Marlins.
Yeah. Thank you, Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter's now the president of the Marlins right now. He's
no
fucking
shit, really?
He's fucking them up. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you. It's great.
So are they now called the Miami Marlins?
They're called the Miami
They're
Marlins.
no longer the Florida Marlins?
No longer the Florida Marlins.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because now you have the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right.
I think
which used to be the Devil Rays.
Which used to be the Devil Rays.
Religious nut job started complaining about that.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
I know. Nevertheless, you still have the Redskins happening and the Indians.
The Braves.
The Braves.
The Braves got that tomahawk chop.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's not go there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to any Native American people listening to this podcast.
Yes, it's a sad time.
Yeah. Also, Josh, can you recap the picks that we chose? Because I'd like to make a chart and post it up at some point.
Yeah.
So that everybody can share. So that we can share. The fucking. Probably what everybody's gonna say a fluke after I win this next week too.
Oh yeah,
Fluke?
definitely. It was totally a fluke. But then again, you kind of picked closely to what I had. So,
but I picked first.
That's true. That is
so
true.
Fuck off. If anything, you copied me.
Fuck you. So the games I picked were the Colts-Patriots game, which is actually happening tonight, and I will give you guys the score to that because it's pretty much over.
Okay. Hey, what quarter are they in?
Fourth
quarter right now?
Less than 4 minutes
As we
left.
record this?
As we record this.
Crazy,
yeah,
okay.
So it'll be over by the time we're done.
All right.
And then, I picked the Vikings-Eagles game, the Falcons-Steelers game, the Rams-Seahawks, the Cowboys-Texans, and then the Washington team and the Saints. So, let's start with Joe C. So Joe C's picks were Pats over Colts.
Yep.
Eagles over Vikings.
Sounds right.
Falcons over Steelers.
That's something I'd do.
Rams over Seahawks.
Of course.
Texans over Cowgirls.